Well, the American press declared that the Migrant Caravan in Mexico was not a problem for the United States, but actual migrants are getting in the way of that storyline. A CNN reporter interviewed a man in a van of migrants in the caravan, and after claiming that many plan to stay in Mexico, the reporter found that almost all of them actually plan to head here to the United States. So if they get here, they'll find a country divided over how to treat them. Newport Beach, California could soon become the latest town in that state to openly defy its sanctuary state law. Joe Alioto Veronese is an attorney running for the DA of San Francisco, and he joins us tonight. Joe, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
So I guess the bigger question here is there are 7 countries in Central America, about 47 million people. Why wouldn't all of them come to California? And why don't they have a right to?
Well, this caravan of people, these are asylum seekers, right? This is really a multinational problem. It's a lot like what's happening out in Syria, where many governments have to deal with these people.
It is.
Over the years, as you know, this is something that happens every year. So over the years, we've seen that a majority of the people end up in Mexico and end up staying in Mexico, and this is really the Mexican problem. This is not a problem here in the United States. The sanctuary city thing is an entirely different issue, and really that's related to DACA.
Okay, but I just want to, but before you make policy, you have to agree on what's true and who has rights and what are they. And so my question is, every country in Central America, and I've been to 6 out of 7, is less good to live in than the United States. So all the population of Central America could plausibly claim asylum here. Do we have a right to say no? And how many can we say no to? Okay, so if we have that right, then why is no one in statewide office in California invoking that right? Why are they saying we don't actually have a right to keep people out?
No, what they're saying in California is that California is not obligated to enforce federal immigration law. That's always been true. We can agree on that. That's not what these sanctuary city policies are really about. Sanctuary city originally, if you look back at 20, 30 years ago when it first started, was enacted to protect the DACA-type people. And 70% of Americans believe that we need to deal with DACA. Even our president believes that. If the president would do that, it would make it a lot harder for us here in California to defend our sanctuary city policies. There's no question about it.
Let me ask you this. Let's say you had 5 million migrants from Central America show up in California tomorrow, claim asylum, all of them were admitted. Would the state get poorer or richer?
I don't know. That's a good question. I'm sure that would be, it depends on how they would get assimilated into our state. And, you know, once they're in our state, of course, they could go to any state. They could go to your state. They could go to New Mexico, Nevada, and
right,
elsewhere.
but I asked that
because
they're not being assimilated.
It would be difficult because they'd end up living on the street because it's so expensive here.
Yeah, that's true.
You know,
44% of all households in California don't speak English at home. That's the opposite of assimilation. That's a foreign culture living within the larger culture. Is that a problem?
Well, you know, me by way of example, my father was an immigrant. My first language was Italian. I've assimilated pretty well here in the United States, and that's, that's the American dream, right? But
44% of all households. A lot of these are not people who arrived yesterday, last year, or 10 years ago. They arrived a long time ago, and they're still speaking a foreign language at home. Is this a problem? Or is California not assimilating its immigrants?
That's symbolic of a broken immigration system. There's no question. We've got the sanctuary city policies where we're protecting people from certain federal incursions. There's no question about it that we are accepting people here in California. We build bridges, not walls. That being said, the federal government does have a right to enforce federal immigration policy.
Okay, I'm not sure I even understand your answer. Here, let me ask you one last question, which is the outflow from California of middle-class, native-born Californians is overwhelming. It's all over the news in your state. I know you've seen it. California politicians are spending the overwhelming majority of their time talking about how to help people here illegally. Do you worry that you're not paying enough attention to your own people, to your own middle class, and they're leaving?
Oh, every day, all day long. We are spending more and more money, just by way of example, here in California. Our city budget used to be $3 billion, not 15 years ago. Now it's $10 billion, and we have people running for mayor that want to add, billion-dollar bonds. There's no question it's getting more expensive. Some of the liberal policies are very expensive. We need to start looking inward instead of outward to make sure that our own are taken care of. There's no question about that.
All right. Well, good for you.
I think that we're at a tipping point on that.
You're the first person from seeking office in California on the left who said that, so thank you. Joe, good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too.
First it was guns, they were going to take them away, but now they're going further. In London, which is a city and kind of a country now, the mayor is going after knives. How long until the left comes for your buck knife? Plus, Bill de Blasio's regime in New York is pretty tough on guns. So guess what one of his top aides was just caught with? Illegal gun? We'll tell you when we come back.